Hey, Alvernia community. Our alumni spotlight this month is Nick Jaisingh, and we will be talking about his career as a nurse and the impact from his time and degree at Alvernia have had in his life. So, hi, Nick. Thanks for joining me.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Life's busy, but we're making it. We're almost hopefully through the what's left of COVID, so we can get
Yes,
back to
hopefully.
normalcy and back to on-campus activities and all the good stuff.
I totally have spring fever. I mean, this weather is just so gorgeous.
I know, but then it gets like snowy one day and then it's 70 the next, so I never know how to feel.
I know that's the spring weather for you.
Yeah,
So to start off, can you tell me what degrees you have?
sure. So I have a bachelor's of science in biology from Alvernia. I graduated in 2017 with that. And then afterwards, I went on and got my nursing degree. So I have a bachelor's in nursing from Misericordia that I graduated with in 2020. Yeah, kind of thinks it's
Nice.
longer than that, but yeah. So
Congratulations. That's a lot of
thank
hard
you.
work.
Thanks.
So, what did you originally want to do when you were going for biology at Alvernia? Did you know you wanted to be a nurse at that point?
No, so I did not know I wanted to be a nurse. So when I actually started as a freshman, I was a poli-sci major. So I took some classes with Dr. Williams and things like that. And then I took a bio class with Dr. Hines. I think it was like one of their like science requirements. And I actually really enjoyed it. So I switched my major to bio, um, thinking I want to do something in medicine. So I actually graduated with my bio degree, wanting to go on to medical school. So I sat for my MCAT, which is the admission test for medical school, and I did some research with Reading Hospital, published in the American Journal of Surgery with them
Wow.
after research. And then I went to St. George's University School of Medicine. I quickly realized that I didn't want to take the traditional path to bedside medicine, and there was nursing options and quicker ways of getting there. And, um, you know, to me, what's not easier, but that you could still work and get to the bedside, have a hospital pay for you to go back to school, things like that. So I went back and I left medical school and I went back and got my nursing degree. And I will actually start nurse practitioner school here soon for my doctorate in nursing practice um, degree and do bedside nursing, like in acute care as a nurse practitioner. Um, in the coming year or so, I should be starting school. So that's the plan at
Wow.
least.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
the
Schooling
bio
never
degree was
ends when
great
you're a
though.
nurse. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the nice thing. The bio degree was nice because it gave me a like an excellent background to go into nursing. Um, but it's ultimately not what I ended up doing, but it all
Mhm.
worked out. It definitely helps.
Yeah, of
So
course. Of course. And I mean, nursing is just constant learning too, because things are always ever changing and evolving in that field.
yeah. So it just allowed me to still reach my goals of being a bedside provider, just through a different avenue. Nurse practitioners now have a lot of autonomy and things like that. So I work alongside a great bunch of physicians and nurse practitioners, and it's just a path for me. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
So where are you currently employed?
So I currently work at York Hospital. It's a level 1 trauma center. I'm a critical care nurse in the surgical ICU there for a little over a year. And actually, in about 2 weeks, I'm going back to the emergency department where I started. That's where I worked as a tech through college and after Alvernia. So I'll go back and do be a nurse in emergency medicine. So
Wow, that's
yeah.
probably, I mean, no job in nursing is easy, but that must be difficult to see a lot of the things that come through there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's tough. Working through COVID for pretty much all of it versus as a patient tech and then like as a nurse was definitely eye-opening and tough. But now that we're getting back to a little bit of normalcy, it's nice. Just
Good,
getting back those regular patients. So, but
good. What made you I mean, you kind of explained it a little bit. What made you really want to become a nurse? Like what makes it impactful for you?
so nursing's tough. But whenever I first started and when I looked at nursing, it wasn't just the career opportunities or, excuse me, the different variety of nursing practice that you can do. But um, I have a huge passion with like healthcare disparities. So helping communities that don't always have access to healthcare, whether that be like undocumented people, um, you know, people that are like inner city and things like that that don't always have access. So coming to York was a big thing for me. Also, whenever we did stuff in Reading, um, Washington, D.C., I did an alternative break there. So I was just able to see all of the areas that we really don't have equal quality access to healthcare. And that's a big thing. So that's kind of was my push to also go back to the emergency department, is because they do a lot of outreach in that area to like work with the homeless or minority populations that don't always have quality access to healthcare. Because I think, in my opinion, healthcare is like a human right. Like everyone should have access to quality healthcare regardless of what it is. So sorry,
Yeah, of
my alarm
course.
going off.
It's okay. No, of course, I completely agree with you on that. So then what would you say your favorite part about the work that you do is? Like, what's your favorite thing?
So my favorite thing is probably, as working in the ICU, a lot of our patients are very sick. Sometimes just seeing those patients, come back and visit us, and they have good outcomes, and seeing those positive outcomes. Um, it's tough because we, in the area I work in, they're so critical that we do lose a lot of patients. But all the ones that make it through and they go back to their regular life and their quality of life is improved because of what we did and the care that we provided, or just seeing the families that are touched by what we do. That really is kind of my driving force of what takes you back every day. To see that impact that you're making and know that it was you played a little role in just helping them get better when they were at their worst. So that's
Yeah, that's
the
super
driving force.
inspiring.
Yeah.
That's what keeps you going, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talking a little bit about Alvernia. So what impact has your degree had on your career thus far?
Sure. So I always tell people, like, going to Alvernia for biology, first off, I was able to do a ton of things while I was there. I actually went on a missions trip with the bio department to Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, when we did like that trip there. I also was able to like go on and do research through Reading Hospital. They were a partnering institution, and I was able to get published there. That's still on my resume, and people always ask about that. So even as a nurse now, people are like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And it's good that I was able to, have Alvernia there for me. So they helped me through that process, and just staying connected in all different ways. So I still stay in touch with a lot of the people that I, were part of my classes and old professors and things like that. They even reach out. So it's definitely, it gave me an excellent background to go into nursing, because it kind of was the foundation. And I think it's going to be even more, I don't know, it's going to be better that I'm going into nurse practitioner school, because a lot of the stuff that I covered in my bio classes during my undergrad time at Alvernia will be touched upon going into those advanced nursing classes. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And your wife, who's also an alum, is a nurse too. How do you
correct.
guys ever see each other?
So the nice thing about bedside nursing is you work 3 days a week. So we work 3 12-hour shifts. So we try to schedule together. Megan works as a med surg nurse. She's been a nurse longer than I have. So she also did inspire me to go back to nursing, because she kind of showed me all of the opportunities and, that nursing provides. So that was great. And then I work 3 months nights and 3 months days currently. So we try to match our schedules best we can, and, we make it work. So taking time away from nursing and time away from just all the busyness of life is important, but we definitely try to make it a priority. So
Yeah. It's awesome that you guys being in the same career path, you do different things, but you can talk the same language and understand what you're talking about when you come home and you're like, how's your day? You
Yeah.
get a lot of what that is.
I always tell people it's like a blessing and a curse because, like, yes, she understands, but then a lot of times what we end up doing is talking about nursing, and we talk about like all this medical stuff, and then we're like, okay, we're just spending too much time talking about this. Versus if like your spouse worked on the opposite spectrum, you can just be like, okay, well, you don't understand, so let's just like stop talking about work now. But it's great. We try to limit how much time we spend talking about work because sometimes you can get consumed with just everything that's going on. So,
Sure,
but
yeah, of
it is
course.
very nice having a spouse that also works in medicine. So,
Awesome. So you were super involved as a student when you were at Alvernia. Can you tell me some of
I
the
was.
things that you were involved in? I
Sure.
know I'm
So
making you think back a long time ago.
I know it's like, where do I start? So I was an RA for a little over 4 years with the Office of Residence Life. I held various work study positions, both in student financial planning and adult and graduate education. Um, I sat on SGA as a senator for multiple years. I was part of, what is it, NRHH, and like RHA. I was part of like the campus activities board, bringing activities to campus. Um, I led one of the search retreats back when search was a thing through campus ministry. Um, I don't know, whenever there was random boards and Dr. C needed somebody or Dr. Flynn at the time, we kind of just did whatever was needed.
You were just always
So
there.
yeah, so it was fun. I don't regret it. I think that's actually some of the things that, you miss the most is about like, how do you stay connected? Because you were involved in so much. And then you kind of graduate and you're like, okay, well, I work 36 hours a week now and I'm sleeping because I'm working night shift and, I got married and things like that. But it's like, what do I do now? I don't have a cab meeting or I don't have an SGA meeting on a Sunday night. So that initial transition was kind of like, what am I doing with my time now? So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Well, now you have a young alumni committee to be a part
yeah,
of
exactly.
to
So
stay
yeah,
connected.
yeah, absolutely.
So can you tell me about a favorite memory you have from campus? I'm sure there's a lot.
Sure.
But one that sticks out in your mind.
So, I always tell people I have the best group of friends that, I went to school with. Um, they were always there. We always did everything together. We were involved in a lot of the same things. We met a lot of them through Res Life. And they're actually the people that like stood beside me at my wedding, like, things like that. So probably some of my best times were just whenever I always tell people like just being able to hit up a friend and being like, hey, did you eat yet? Do you want to go to the calf? Like, regardless of what was being made that day, or do you want to go to courtside and grab food? Basketball games were always a fan favorite, Alvernia Albright games were always great. So just things like that, just being able to, regardless of where you lived on campus, Alvernia was big enough but small enough that like you can meet up with anyone within minutes, and even if they lived off campus or whatever, and you can do something. There was always something to do, and that's probably just one of my favorite parts, is that people were always there and you just stayed connected because there was so much that you can get involved in and so much that you can do. So there was always something to do. But, like I said, basketball games were always a favorite. We always tried to make that a priority, regardless of what was going on. And other sporting events, even whenever it was warm out, like going to baseball games or softball games. So definitely
Yeah, and
attending those activities.
that's a big part of what makes the college experience what it is and so much
Absolutely.
fun. You couldn't do it without friends.
Absolutely.
So switching gears a little bit, can you tell me either an interesting fact about yourself or a favorite hobby you have? Or you could do both if you really want.
An interesting fact about myself. Oh my gosh. So I guess something that you don't know. I don't know, because I'm married to another Alvernia alum. Um, so I don't know. The one I always used in college is that I have tri-citizenship. So, we're technically we're citizens of Barbados, Guyana, and the United States because I was born in Guyana.
Wow,
So, yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Have you
that's
gone
something.
back? Have you gone back to either of those
Yeah. So
places?
I was actually there back in like 2018. My family still owns a home there, and a lot of my mom's side of the family still lives there. So we've been there. Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then I'm working on um, getting Megan. We try to go somewhere new every year. Obviously, COVID kind of slowed that down, but we're working on getting to Barbados. It's an island, so the beach and all that stuff. So I don't think it'll
Nice.
take too much convincing.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I would sure want to go.
Yeah.
Um, so to kind of wrap things up, what is one piece of advice that you wish you had known when you were a current student that you want a current student to know now?
Sure. So I would just say take advantage of every opportunity that's given to you. As small as you might think those opportunities are, or those, whatever it may be, they can lead to bigger things as, eventually, like I think as my senior year went on, a lot of those things that I took advantage of even come back today in my professional life. And they're like, tell me about this time you led this retreat, as you're trying to go into like leadership positions, or tell me about this time that, like the conference that you presented at. So things that you might think are like very minuscule while you're going through them really do play a large role in your professional life. Alvernia is such a close knit community that there will always be people that are behind you in whatever you do. And I can say that, I've experienced that firsthand. I still, whenever I come to campus, Shannon Murky, Carolina Dreyer, people like that from Res Life, they're the first people that'll leave whatever meeting they're in or whatever and trying to get together with you. People are always reaching out, you and Dan, just in general. So make those lifelong connections and really just enjoy that experience. Like I said, also like the friends that you make at Alvernia and the things that you do with those people, no one ever tells you that when you leave Alvernia in the Reading area, you kind of go back to wherever life was, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to always see those people as often as you do, and you kind of go through that transition phase where it's like, well, what? I don't have my 10 best friends around me all the time anymore that I can just like always eat with or do stuff with, but as you go through life, continue to make those connections and make it a priority to get together with those people, because you will make like lifelong friendships. I've a couple good friends. A lot of our friends have gotten married over the last couple of years, and we always joke because like in the Alvernia, what is it, like motto? It's like it talks about being it's like leaders with like, oh, I can't remember right off the top of my head right now, but it talks about being leaders, and we always like repeat it, and then we always like question each other about like the core values, just because it's like ingrained in us, and like what we do. So it's just those things that you'll always joke about, and you'll make those connections that are lifelong. So enjoy all of it, take advantage of all the opportunities, and before you know it, graduation will be here and you're on to the next big thing. So
Yeah, graduation's 2 months away already. It's
I know
crazy.
that's insane, but
Yeah,
it's part of life, I guess.
indeed it is. But you brought up such a good point in that like going and trying anything and getting new experiences, even if you don't like them or you're scared of them, because it does impact you professionally and down along the road, and even your personality and finding out things that you love that you never thought you would, or
Yeah.
just how it helps you to become the person that you are.
Yeah. Yeah. The saying that I was thinking of was ethical leaders with moral courage. So we always
Yes.
joke about that because working through university life, it was one of Dr. C's favorite sayings. So while we joke about it, it's kind of like, as you think about how you went on in life. So even like in people's vows, I think my one friend included it that like, they're going to be ethical leaders with moral courage and things like that. So Alvernia really does follow you throughout your entire life and all the things that you do. So
And
yeah.
that phrase is still used, believe it or not.
Exactly,
It's still around.
exactly.
It's
So,
like you're a student all over again.
yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Nick. This was amazing. And I loved
Absolutely.
hearing all about your experiences and what you're doing now. You're doing such great stuff. Thank you for being a nurse because it's not easy and you're doing a lot of really great and hard work.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoy the interview. Bye.